Hey, hello, everybody. I'm going to introduce Lynn and we'll get started again. I mentioned, first of all, the first three speakers have been fantastic, and it's all leading up to what Lynn and her teams are going to cover. But I mentioned that we had this 24,000 word manuscript from which came a survey, from which came these teams that Lynn is about to describe to you. And this is just the kickoff of the teams. There's openings for every single person in the AAPN. So Lynn, please take it away.
All right, thank you so much, Mike. Jeff, will you hit the first slide? So we have breaking news. What is the future? Don't miss the upcoming extravaganza of our network experts as we unpack the future on the 4 Thursdays in June, June 3, June 10, 17, and the 24th. Good afternoon, I'm Lynn Sprugel, and I'm founder and CEO of ABuzz Global and on the AAPN Executive Committee. Thank you, AAPN and the participants, to allow me to give you a Future Forum marketing teaser. Okay, yes, it really is an advertisement, okay, but it's the only one today that you get. This is an exclusive AAPN event seen on no other network or cable channels or galaxy. How do we make the future? Next. Well, we must come to the realization that the future ain't what it used to be. If we imagine ourselves as the Croods before the pandemic, we were living comfortably within our cave, our office, our house, our restaurants, and all our surroundings. But as disruption occurs, they have to figure out how to live in a different age with different people. So how do we operate in this new age? Next. Arundhati, an Indian author and activist, she exclaims, historically, pandemics have forced humans to break with the past and imagine their world anew. This pandemic is no different. It is a portal. It is a gateway between one world and the next. Next. If we zoom in and look at an EKG trend lines too close, we can't determine the diagnosis of the patient. Next. If we zoom out and look at the entire EKG, we can see the issues. We must zoom out to see these real trend lines of what is happening. Next. We are coming from an age of recent lockdowns, living behind closed doors. We each have a unique experience, good and bad, and maybe a hybrid of both, and a story to tell. If we can mine those thoughts and new ideas around the forced realities under which we have had to operate, we can begin to create a future. Next. As we turn the doorknob, we are anxiously awaiting a new age. We emerge seeing many new horizons, each different, each offering endless possibilities. As Paul Thoreau said of travel, you must go away for a long time and return a different person. You never come all the way back. Next. As the British journalist Jane Garvey discovered, the future is not some place we are going to, but a place we are creating. The paths to which are not found, they are made. Next. The emergence of the Future Forum. So how do we make this future? In June of 2020, there were 2 AAPN veteran members, Walter Wilhelm and Carlos Arias, that had this great idea about creating this Future Forum. On September 1, 2020, AAPN held a 2-hour virtual discussion with 38 AAPN senior executive members. Next. Out of that virtual discussion, it was evident that the innovation collaboration that took place was something only a trusted network could make and generate. The classic quote from Margaret Mead comes to mind: "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has." So we created a survey, and I'd like to thank Paula Rosenblum from RSR Research for helping create the questions in a survey format. As we looked at the results, the survey was answered by 95 participants, Wow, that was awesome participation to get their thought leadership across the board of the apparel industry. Our findings indicated top themes, which emerged into our future innovation teams, which is the organization Biz Global, rebuilding trust, the material science, and the technology team. And as we look at the respondents of that survey, 43% were factories and manufacturers, 18 were from brands and retailers, 17% yarn and fabric providers, followed by technology providers, trim providers, and other consultants. 73% of the respondents were headquartered in the US, 8% in Central America, 7% in Asia, and 5% in Europe. And the respondents had represented 8 roles in their organizations. So 48% from sales and business development, 12% from supply chain, 8% from manufacturing, 7% from sourcing, and 6% from product development. Next slide. So as we look at each of the teams, I'd like to really recognize and appreciate the time donation that these network members have donated to help create and help us understand the future. So the first team is Team Biz Global. So it's led by Renee Babineau and Rick Horwich. And that team has developed 4 subgroups that you don't want to miss. The first one is on business models. We're going to be talking about traditional and emerging business models, but also looking at platform, circular economy, what is that consumer demanding of these business models, and sustainability, circularity, blockchain, and on-demand manufacturing. Next, the sustainability sub-team is talking about circularity and the upcoming trends, repurposing garments, and second chance garments. Also, Renee is talking about the organization and the calendar. So when we look at how we could shave off not necessarily minutes in the production, but shave off months in the development, what impact would that have for our industry? So she calls it radical regenerative retail therapy. I like it, therapy. And the next subgroup is future factories. With micro factories or urban factories, you know, we do talk about nearshoring of supply chains. But what is an urban factory setup, lead time? You know, how does it get set up? How can we accomplish pilot tests? Well, this group has interviewed CEOs that are presently doing this. So you're going to get C-suite insight on this. So this insightful presentation is on June 3rd. Next slide, please. The next group is on remodeling trust. This is led by Kirsten K. Harris and Mandy Strickland. This is a shakeup. They're looking at the shakeup of the factory retailer relationship. And they are zeroing in on a commitment trust theory. They are looking at transparency of information, the sharing of processes, you know, what is the value add from each player in the supply chain? And how does that provide an opportunity to level the field? You know, what are ways to cement and factors to consider in creating trust in that relationship? And how is this relationship led? Is it supplier led, sourcing executive led, or led by consumer models? So don't miss their insights on June 10th. Next slide. This team is the Team Material Sciences, the MatSci team. And they are looking at current technologies in material sciences. So when we talk about technologies, we're talking about material science technologies. What's in our near future? What's only in concept stage at this point, but maybe in 5 to 7 years becomes a reality. And what are these drivers that are influencing this technology today? The obstacles and timelines for these future technologies. So they're going to be talking about biodegradable polyester, recyclable cotton blends, 3D printing, custom fit wearable garments, and all of this that we can expect in the next 5 years in our industry. So don't miss their interviews. They're going to have interviews from different executives, leading material science experts on this on June 17th. Next slide. And our last team, but not last, it's the Texas team. Okay, I'm from Texas, but it's the technology team, technology systems team. And this team is led by Jorge De Leon and Pam Peel. And they have taken a survey, which the results are fabulous. They're interesting, and you don't want to miss those. They're also going to be looking at implementation success of technology and how to find and plan ROI for that tech purpose. But I think another interesting aspect of this is the Inspiring Innovation Panel that they will have. So they will show companies that had to innovate on the fly back in March, April, May of 2020, but also sharing other inspiring stories that will help spur others on. So all of their news is presented on June 24th. So as you can see, there's been a lot of thought-provoking discussions and strategy building of new steps to ignite this industry into the future. Next slide. So the future revealed is coming soon. This is my advertisement. June 3rd, Team Biz Global. June 10, Team Remodeling Trust. June 17, Team Material Sciences. June 24, Team Technology Systems. 1 to 2:30 Eastern Time. Don't miss it. Already put it on your calendar so you can sign up at the AAPN website now. Next slide. So the future just doesn't happen. With partners like you, the future is really what we make it together, as we can see this innovative collaboration that we have. Next slide. Next slide. So join the heartbeat of the future. Join us on these 4 Tuesdays in June. Thank you, Mike. I'll hand it back over to you.
Well, that was really, really cool. Remember that this started because Walter Wilhelm and Carlos Arias wrote Sue and I an email saying, we should not sit here and wonder what's going to happen. We should not wait and try to find out what's going to happen. We should make it happen. We should start doing things right now that dictate that when we come out of this coronavirus, we're getting more business than we've ever gotten before, because we're solving a problem that no one's ever had before. And then Lynn, a PhD, took it, and then, as you saw, 36 people jumped on board, and they don't have time for this. And yet I've been in their meetings every week in some cases for over an hour in most cases. Tough, hard work, hard discovery. So I think that this thing in June is going to be pretty fantastic, Lynn.
Looking forward to it.